Friends, it is always advisable to solve the previous year's question papers when you are attempting any courses. So here also we are doing the same thing, and here we will be solving the terminal end examination of December 2022 of MCO 22. And let's see, like, because it is not certain that you might not get questions from this. So it is always, I will advise you to follow the previous year's question paper and analyze them properly, so that you can prepare well for the June examination. Okay, so right away we'll start with the first question, and the first question is, describe the four states of decision environment, and which state is the most prevalent, right? So this is the question on decision environment, like how, like the different, you just have to mention about the four states of decision environment. And basically, decision making, you can write little bit about decision making, like it is a thoughtful process of selecting a choice between the options available, and you have to choose the best alternative that can get you the best decision. And before we arrive at the decision, so we generally consider four states, like we are in four states when we are taking a decision. Like first one is defining the problem. We will define like what is the problem all about, and how we can solve that problem. The second one is determining the requirements, like what are the available resources are there with you, which can help you to solve the problem. And then establishing the goal. This is the most important one, most prevalent one in fact. And most of the business enterprises, they set goals, short terms and long terms. So it is very important that they should set achievable goals. Okay, and the fourth state is identifying the alternatives. What are the alternatives, or what are the different choices available to a business enterprise? So one by one, like you can define about this. Okay, so that is what I have done here. And in fact, friends, MCO 22 is not an easy chapter. In fact, यहाँ पे एक तो स्टूडेंट्स के पास में स्टडी मटेरियल्स नहीं है, एंड दूसरी चीज़ है कि इसके अंदर मैथमेटिक्स और कुछ एक टेक्निकल कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं, टॉपिक्स हैं, जिनको थोड़ा सा आपको मेहनत करना होगा. यू हैव टू डू सेल्फ स्टडी and you should practice a lot of numericals. Okay friends, second question karte hain, and this is on arithmetic mean, and you have to write the meaning of arithmetic mean and its properties, and the relationship between mean, median, mode with the help of a diagram. So basically, arithmetic mean, this is the most commonly used and readily understood measure of central tendency, right? It is a measure of central tendency. And in statistics, the term average refers to any of the measures of the central tendency. And we can also define arithmetic mean, that it is equal to the sum of the numerical values of each and every observation divided by the total number of observations. So like we know about mean, we have been doing mean there and a lot of problems in mathematics right from class 6. And these are the three important properties of arithmetic mean. The first one is the sum of the deviations of the observation from the arithmetic mean is always equal to 0. This is one of the very important property. The second one is the sum of the squared deviation of the observation from the mean is always minimum. That means the total squares of the deviations of any other value than mean value will be greater to the sum of the squares of the deviation from the mean. So this is again a very important property which we use in standard deviations. Then arithmetic mean of several sets of data may be combined into a single arithmetic mean for a combined set of data. That means we can add different sets of arithmetic mean to have a combined set. Then in this question again you have to write the relationship between mean, median and mode. Very important question also. Just now I told you about the mean. Then median is the middle value of the observed set of values, and mode is the value of the class which has the highest frequency. So we know about this, and we can also represent their relationship in this way. In this diagram, as you can see on the screen, the first one is these are the three types of conditions that can happen with mean median mode. In the first case here, mean is less than median and median is less than mode. In the second stage, mean median mode, all the three are equal, and in the third stage, mean is greater than median and median is greater than mode. So in the first case it is negatively skewed, the middle one is symmetrical, and right hand side is positively skewed. So basically skewness भी इसी के ऊपर ही डिपेंड करता है, एंड इस ग्राफ को आपको याद रखना है, प्रैक्टिस करनी है, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है. And this is what I've written again, like positively, negatively, and symmetrical skewness. Then this is the empirical relationship between mean, median and mode. And ये relation, ये formula आपको याद रखना है. That is mean minus mode equal to 3 into whole 2 mean minus median. Or you can also learn this formula जो आपने class 10 में किया था कभी. That is mode equal to 3 median minus 2 mean. This is the most popular relation. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What do you understand by decision theory, and what are the key issues in the decision theory? And explain decision tree approach to the managerial decisions. So there are three parts of the question, and first you will define, you will write a short note on decision theory. Okay, how this decision theory and how the available choices are used to take decisions. So this is what I have written here, like why we take, like how we can take decisions, and what are the factors that help us to take decisions. I have also given one example here, so like this you can expand your answer. And this is the decision theory approach, and basically decision theory is a set of concepts, principles, tools and techniques that help the decision maker in dealing with complex decision problems under uncertainty. And decision theory more or less deals with the methods of determining the optimal course of action when a number of alternatives are available to the company. So basically decision theory uses economic and statistical approaches for studying an individual decision, right? And this decision theory, when we talk about the issues in decision theory, basically there are 5 issues that happens with the decision. The first one is the decision criteria, like what criteria we will use to take decision. Then what are the list of alternatives we have, then a list of possible future events that are going to take place, it's a probable one. And fourthly, payoffs associated with each combination of alternatives event. And fifthly, the degree of certainty of future events. So all these issues can be solved in this way, like actually it is not a part of your question, but still then I have written there, you might get this question because decision पे question आता ही आता है this chapter से, बहुत important chapter है. Then the question also asks for decision tree. What is decision tree? Basically it is a support tool and a tree like structure that models probable outcomes, cost of resources, utilities and possible consequences. And this decision tree provides a way to present algorithm with the conditional control statements, and they include different branches that represent decision steps that lead to a favorable result. You can draw a flow chart in this, and we can use this decision tree to assess our strength and opportunities, to using demographic data to find the prospective clients, customers. And it also acts as a supporting tool in different fields. And there are many advantages and disadvantages of decision tree, like it is easy to read and understand, easy to prepare, and less data is required to be cleaned. That means it is concrete. And some disadvantages there, like it is unstable in nature, and it is less effective in predicting the outcomes of continuous variable. Now this is the diagram I was talking about. you can draw this decision tree here, like there are different branches just like a tree, and again this one are divided into again two branches each, so like this. So basically everything like all these branches will help you to take effective decisions. Question number 3 is, what do you understand by correlation? Very common question, and distinguish between the different types of correlation with the help of a scatter diagram. I told you in the a lot of previous videos about correlation, and basically correlation, it is a measure of relationship or association between two variables by looking at how the variables change with respect to each other. एंड बेसिकली यहाँ पे दो वेरिएबल्स होते हैं एंड उनका एसोसिएशन, उनका रिलेशन हम कोरिलेशन से फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं. इसके नाम में ही छुपा हुआ है कोरिलेशन, दैट मीन्स द रिलेशन बिटवीन टू वेरिएबल्स. एंड देयर कैन बी 3 टाइप्स ऑफ कोरिलेशन: पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन, नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन एंड नो कोरिलेशन. Positive correlation means as one data increases, the other also increases. Negative means if one data increases, the other decreases. And no means, you know, whether it increases or decreases, there is no effect on the other data. We can also represent this 3 types of correlation by this diagram. And this is the positive correlation, this is negative, and this is no relation. Now in positive, generally, you know, it has an upward slope and it has a downward slope, and you can hear like all these variables are scattered, there is no relation. The next question, number 4, what is the major difference between probability and non-probability sampling? And also you have to write about the sampling methods. Probability and non-probability sampling, basically probability is a technique in which the subjects are of the population get an equal opportunity. That means we are including each and every unit of the population. Whereas in non-probability, here a small sample is only considered, right? So all the units of the population are not included in the sample. And in probability sampling, the samples are chosen randomly, very important, and here arbitrarily, that means non-randomly. And here in probability, the chances of selection in the probability sampling are fixed and known to us, but here it is not known. So like this you can write a lot of points about this, and these are the different methods of sampling. I have also discussed this in MCO 03, right? The different methods of probability sampling, there are 4 methods I have written here. The first one is simple random, second one stratified, third cluster sampling, and fourth one systematic sampling. So you know you can watch my previous videos on this, the different methods of sampling, that will help you a lot. And these are the different methods of non-probability sampling, that is convenience sampling, judgment sampling, and quota sampling, right? So you must write about this. And the next one is a question, it's a numerical in fact, on probability. And here the question is 20% of the machine produces some items, and it produces 20% defective items. And if we choose 5 items at random, so what is the probability of getting 1 defective and at least 3 defective? So actually now these things you need to practice, because probability के बारे में अगर आपका concept clear नहीं है, आपने अगर क्लास 10, 11, 12 या कॉलेज लेवल में अगर आपने probability ठीक से नहीं किया हुआ है, तो I think you need practice or the help of a tutor, right? So now here first one, like probability of defective item. अब यहाँ पे 20% defective item है, that means 20 by 100, that is equal to 1 by 5. Like that, not defective, probability of non defective is 1 minus 1 by 5 or 80 by 100. So you will get 4 by 5. Now there are a sample of 5, there are 5 items that we picked up from here. So the probability of non defective will be 4 by 5 to the power of 5. So when you solve this, you get 0.3276. The next one is, what is the probability of getting 1 defective? So here again, like we are picking up 5. into 1 by 5 into 4 by 5 to the power of 5. Now there is a formula for this which I will discuss in the next videos. So you will get this value after simplifying this, and the required probability in this distribution will be 1.072. Now how, like, again you need formula for this, because here we have taken a probability of 2 and probability of 3 out of 5. So again we will use there is a the formula which I will share in the next video. Okay, so let's move on to the question number 6, and this is on skewness. You are given class and number of salesmen. This is what is given, and you have to find whether like how is the skewness, whether it is positive, negative. Okay, so these two columns are given in the question, payment and frequency. So this formula we will use, that is Carl-Pearson formula to find the skewness, and this is the formula you must learn, that mean minus mode divided by ST. So that will give you skewness. ST stands for standard of deviation. So first we will find mean. To find mean, again we will take X, this is the midpoint of the class, like 1000 to 1200, the midpoint is 11, like that. Then find out D, that means you have to take one assumed mean from here, like the middle number. So you can take this one, 1700, I have taken this one only. So this one minus 1100, 1700 minus 1100 divided by class size. Class size here is 200. So when you divide that, you get minus 3. So similarly, when you subtract 1300 minus 1700 and divided by the class size 200, you get minus 2. So similarly you will get all these figures. Now what we are going to do, we will calculate FD. FD, that means frequency into deviation. So you will get this value. Then again you have to find FD square. So this is easy, no problem with this, because just we need to square the value of D and then multiply it with F, or even like you can multiply FD into D. So you get this value. So this is I have worked out here, because you need mean, median. This mean you need the value of mean, the value of mode has to be derived, and the value of standard deviation. Standard deviation के लिए ये formula हम लोग use करते हैं most often, and then we will find the skewness, right? So very simple, लेकिन बहुत ही important question है. The next question short notes है, question number 7. The first short note is on cofactor of an element of matrix. Matrix हम लोगों ने again maths से related है, एंड वहाँ पे हम लोगों ने कोफैक्टर डिटर्मिनेंट्स के बहुत बार हम लोगों ने वर्कआउट किए हैं. एंड इफ़ यू हैव फॉरगटन, काइंडली प्रैक्टिस फॉर दैट, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू बी ईजी. एंड कोफैक्टर बेसिकली इट इज़ अ नंबर दैट इज ऑब्टेन्ड बाय एलिमिनेटिंग द रोज एंड कॉलम्स ऑफ ए पर्टिकुलर डिटर्मिनेंट और मैट्रिक्स, एंड इट इज़ प्रेसिडेड बाय नेगेटिव एंड पॉजिटिव साइन. And in other words, cofactor of an element of a matrix is the determinant of the matrix obtained by eliminating this and then multiplied with +1 or -1 according to the position of the element. The purpose of cofactor matrix is to determine the inverse of a matrix. This is very important. It helps to determine the determinants of the matrix. That is obvious. So like this, you can also write the formula. You can also give one example of this cofactor. So let's move on to the second one, the distinction between census and sampling. This also we have done quite a lot of times in the previous video, that census is a big concept, it's a broad concept, and the whole of the population is covered here, but in sampling we take only a handful of the unit of population. And census is a very time consuming process, whereas sampling is it's a fast process. Census is an expensive method, but it is little bit economical. Census is more reliable and accurate, whereas sampling is not very accurate, it's not very systematic. So like this. One more difference you have to write here in question number 7, that is standard deviation and standard error. Basically, standard deviation, it is an absolute measure of dispersion in series, whereas standard error is used to measure the statistical accuracy of an estimate. And standard deviation clarifies the standard amount of variation on both the sides of the mean, whereas standard error is used in the process of testing hypothesis. Now this is very important one. Standard deviation implies the measure of dispersion of the set of values from their mean, whereas here we take an estimate. Standard deviation tells us how much observation vary from each other, whereas standard error tells us how precise the sample mean from the true population mean. So like this, let's move on to next one, criteria of optimism. Now basically optimism, that means यहाँ पे enterprise को optimistic होना चाहिए. It should always be positive about this, because generally we cannot just avoid risk. Where there is risk, there is profit, there is a reward. So be optimist. So on that, this criteria of optimism, which was developed by Harvey's optimism pessimism rule. So इसके बारे में आपको एक short notes लिखना है. Okay, and this is question numbers, that is fifth part, pilot testing and pre-testing. Pilot testing, a small scale study conducted prior to actual research. Research के पहले एक छोटा सा research होता है, एक study होता है, that is called pilot testing. And pre-testing is जैसे हम लोगों का pre-test होता है exam, board exam के पहले, something like that. It is the administration of the data collection instrument with a small set of population. And in pilot testing, the main object is to check if the tools and procedures of the research are properly designed or not. But here we check the instruments like questionnaire, interviews, schedules, like that. And it is just a small replica of the main study, but it is the hallmark of the scientific research. So like this. And the last topic of this video, null hypothesis. Null hypothesis, again, like there is no relationship between the two population parameters. Basically it describes about that. That means an independent variable and dependent variable have no relationship. So that is called null hypothesis. And the outcome could be due to the experimental or sampling error. And if the null hypothesis returns false, there is a relationship in the measured phenomena. The null hypothesis is useful because it can be tested to conclude whether or not there is a relationship between the two variables. And it can also inform the user about the different results obtained due to the chance of manipulating or the phenomena. And there are two main approaches of this null hypothesis. One is significance testing, which was developed by Ronald Fisher, and hypothesis testing, which was invented by Georgi Neyman and again Pearson. So you can write little bit about that, because you have to write a short note. तो short note आपका कम से कम 150 से 200 words के अंदर होना चाहिए. Only then you can get 5 marks for this. तो फ्रेंड्स, ये थे सॉल्यूशन जो दिसंबर में एग्ज़ाम हुआ था MCO 22 का, राइट. And for the June examination, all my study materials, previous 5 years solutions are there. So वो आप ऑर्डर कर सकते हैं through a Telegram channel and my new WhatsApp number. Thank you very much for watching this video.